June 4th marks 36 years since the Tiananmen massacre. But today, Tiananmen Square is still under siege. Police, soldiers, and plainclothes agents flood the streets. Security checkpoints line every few steps, creating a chilling atmosphere of fear and control. Even subway passengers are interrogated just for transferring lines. A Beijing local says surveillance this year is tighter than ever, stricter even than during previous anniversaries. Travelers are stopped, scanned, and ID checked, not only in central Beijing, but as far out as the Hebei border. Why such extreme control? Because the truth is dangerous. Despite a collapsing economy, mass factory closures, and vanishing foreign investment, the Chinese Communist Party spares no expense to silence dissent and erase history. As one citizen put it, the moment you seek the truth, you've stepped onto the path of crime. So what are they so afraid of? Footage shared by netizens shows that at Baimiao checkpoint, a key route into Beijing, traffic has significantly declined. A tourist from another province complained, "Goodbye Beijing, where everything must be booked in advance. Every few steps there's a security checkpoint, and I had to pull out my ID 100 times." Another netizen noted that even though subways weren't crowded during rush hour, police were still checking IDs. Veteran journalist Gao Yu posted on X that as the anniversary of the Tiananmen crackdown approached, domestic security forces moved in, tightened control, and silenced the online space. The next day, she announced she could no longer post and said farewell. In Hong Kong, stability maintenance was even more intense, as if even the grass and trees were soldiers. On June 4th at Victoria Park, security was heavily tightened. Several people were detained by police simply for holding fresh flowers or electronic candles. Videos and images circulating online show a man in black sitting in the park holding 2 electric candles. Immediately, several plainclothes agents surrounded him and called more than a dozen uniformed officers to arrest and escort him away. Another viral video shows 2 female students carrying fresh flowers approaching the park's fountain, only to be questioned and taken away by the police. Outraged netizens commented, "Being arrested just for holding flowers and candles, the authoritarian regime has truly reached the end of the line." Meanwhile, China's economy continues its severe decline. Scenes of desolation are seen throughout Beijing, with many businesses closed or suspended, streets empty, unemployment rampant, and public discontent spreading widely. What would our cities look like if all physical stores shut down? Today, I came across a shocking figure. The closure rate of physical stores has reached 93%. What does that mean? It's like leaving for work and coming home to find that on a street with over 100 stores, only a handful are still open. For a moment, you'd think you've come to the wrong place. Most shops can't survive more than 2 years. Some can't even last a few months. Running a store is harder than spotting a shooting star. There's not a single customer all day. So what do shopping malls in Beijing look like now? This is the Jinyuan Shopping Center, located on the west side of Beijing's 4th Ring Road. Right now, the mall is eerily quiet inside, with many stores already closed. Looking up at the escalators, completely empty. Jinyuan used to be one of the largest shopping centers in western Beijing, once bustling with heavy foot traffic and non-stop activity every day. But now, each floor is sparsely populated, with store entrances looking desolate. Even well-known stores like Adidas have temporarily closed, and although Desanko is still open, it's nearly customerless. Since the mall doesn't allow dine-in services, even fewer people come. Understandably, with no customers, many shops have stopped operating. The parking lot, which used to be packed and hard to find a spot in, is now completely empty. Those who used to frequent Jinyuan know that parking spaces around the mall were once extremely hard to get, but now this is all that's left. I visited Beijing today and felt a deep sense of change. The city is still Beijing, but it no longer feels the same. Many companies that once operated on the outskirts have moved downtown as rents have dropped sharply, from 15 yuan per square meter in Wangjing Soho to as low as 2 to 4 yuan, even within the 4th Ring Road. People say it's hard to make money and the environment is tough. Wealth is being reshuffled, but ordinary people have few chances. Life has become extremely difficult. Beijing's subways are no longer crowded, a silent sign of mass unemployment. A netizen noted that on the Daxing line, once packed with migrant workers, you can now board instantly during rush hour. Line 4 tells a similar story: fewer commuters, emptier trains. This decline mirrors the office market. Vacancies are everywhere, financial street rents have plunged, and Guangjing is almost deserted. One migrant worker put it bluntly, "It feels like an economic depression. Most jobs left are sales, customer service, or live streaming, just like back home in the countryside, and the pay isn't much better than a fresh grad's. Is the real economy really this bad this year?" Today I still feel stunned and shocked. It's now 7:20 p.m. Just look at the foot traffic in the mall. It feels like no one is there. Every floor is like that. The lights are bright, but there are only a few people. It seems like there are more staff than customers. Is this really the Mixi Mall? Why is it so deserted? Not a single person in sight. My God, this mall is truly bleak. A blogger named Beijing Coach Xiaowei posted a video lamenting the dire state of the passenger transport industry with no end in sight. He said that because Beijing's tourism is so quiet, long stretches of road are lined with idle buses, so much so that it's hard to even find a parking spot. Another netizen, Mr. Dung, also confirmed that the tourism sector is chillingly deserted, with parking lots for tourists completely empty. The gloom extends to events as well. A special media outlet covering the Beijing International Motorcycle Expo, despite usually putting a positive spin on things, admitted that the event was lackluster. Compared to previous years, both the number of exhibitors and visitors had dropped significantly. They acknowledged that empty praise is meaningless. This is simply the reality. Even the gig economy is struggling. A delivery worker shared that to make 300 yuan a day, they have to work 12 hours and still barely manage. Sometimes they wait for orders in places like Shijingshan, Menlu, or the Zhongbu World area for 20 minutes without receiving a single task and end up riding back into the city empty. A small restaurant owner in an alley, Mr. Dong, also complained that business had fallen off a cliff, with the food and beverage industry taking a heavy hit. He felt that the situation was even worse than during the pandemic, and everyone agreed that the economy is in serious decline. How do migrant workers live in Beijing? Where are they now? With these questions in mind, I went to the largest labor market in Beijing, Makou, near the Yizhuang area, which used to be packed with electronic component factories. Over time, the area developed into a certain scale. Makou Temporary Job Market welcomes you. As soon as I got off the vehicle, I saw small groups of workers gathered along the roadside, mostly men in their 30s or 40s, with a wide range of facial expressions and appearances. I was curious, can you really get work just by waiting like this? What happens if no job ever comes? There exists the greatest gap in this world: no pension, yet still having to work. Many have already passed the official working age. 60, over 60. This year isn't going well. There are few jobs. If someone can work 10 or 12 days in total this year, that would already be considered quite good. In places we don't often see, there are people like this, arriving at the same spot every morning at 5 a.m., simply seeking a way to survive. For the sake of survival, some are willing to start waiting at 3 or 4 in the morning, in total darkness, until the sky finally brightens. A 26-year-old woman from Hebei works in Beijing, earning 6,000 yuan a month. Half goes to rent, and she lives on just 800 yuan. I've given up socializing. Low desire living is peaceful. I cook all my meals, keeping each under 10 yuan. My job is 6 days a week, no insurance or housing fund, and I work until 9 p.m. Even when I'm exhausted, I still cook after coming home. Who's struggling in Beijing today? Mostly college graduates from other provinces, renting with no permanent residence. Many are burdened with debts of 200,000 to 300,000 yuan, often from online loans they hide from family. They face huge pressure, constantly juggling just to survive.
It's all covered in today's China Truths. Growth falls back to 1990 levels, expert says. Chinese economy losing momentum. On January 17, China's Statistics Bureau released economic data revealing that China experienced only a 5.2% growth in its economy in 2023, which is notably low compared to previous years, excluding the pandemic period. This figure is reminiscent of the economic growth rates of the early 1990s. Historically, following China's economic reforms and opening up, GDP growth rates below 5% were recorded only in 1989 and 1990, a period marked by comprehensive Western sanctions following the Tiananmen Square incident, leading to growth rates of 2.6% and 2.4%, respectively. Before 1991, China's GDP growth was unstable, heavily influenced by national plans and political events. However, prior to 2012, most years saw GDP growth rates around 10%. Since Xi Jinping's leadership beginning in 2012, there's been a noticeable and steady decline in economic growth. Currently, the three pillars of China's economic growth, exports, foreign investment, and consumption, are faltering. Taiwanese economist Wu Jialong attributes the economic slowdown to several factors: the departure of foreign orders from China, significant job losses in the export and manufacturing sectors which domestic demand can't compensate for, and insufficient domestic economic demand with ineffective government stimulus measures. Meanwhile, assistant researcher Wang Guoqian emphasizes the impact of the U.S.-China trade war, which began in 2018, and rising labor costs in mainland China, leading to a substantial reduction in exports. China's customs data revealed the first annual decrease in exports since 2016, with a 4.6% decline in 2023, compared to a 7% growth in 2022. Guoqian also points out the dampening effect on foreign investment due to China's counter-espionage and national security laws. Chinese Premier Li Chang's recent urging for business investment during the Davos Forum did not positively sway the market. On January 17, foreign capital sold a net amount of 13.057 billion yuan, the highest single-day net selling since October 2022. The decline in private investment, linked to governmental interventions and actions against online platforms, has pushed mainland China to rely heavily on state-owned enterprises tied to government debt, restricting the government's ability to increase investment. Furthermore, despite the Chinese government's emphasis on boosting economic growth through increased consumption, Wang Guoqian notes that consumption has been on a long-term decline since 2014. The pandemic's scar effect has significantly reduced income across various industries, leading to increased unemployment and limited consumer spending capacity. In essence, the significant contraction in consumption, investment, and exports indicates an unavoidable economic slowdown for China. Wu Jialong further comments on the unreliability of various economic indicators in China, from GDP growth to unemployment rates, making it increasingly challenging for businesses to operate in the country. Meanwhile, officials are unable to present effective solutions. He suggests that a realistic picture of the economy can be gauged by observing consumer behavior in department stores, markets, and restaurants rather than relying on official statistics. The CCP Statistics Bureau also reported a nominal increase of 6.3% in national per capita disposable income last year, averaging 3,268 yuan, about $459 monthly. However, the median per capita disposable income grew by 5.3%, averaging 2,753 yuan, about $387 per month, indicating a widening wealth gap. Guoqian also notes that China is facing a liquidity trap and deflation, with a deteriorating situation in the real estate and stock markets, shrinking wealth, and declining incomes. He predicts a vicious cycle of economic decline, compounded by political constraints and diminishing foreign investment, leading to a progressively severe economic landscape. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.